In the last 15 years alone, some of the rarest creatures on Earth have clawed their way back from the dead. These aren't cryptids or rumors. These are real discoveries. And today, I'm walking you through 5 of the wildest comeback stories I've ever heard of. First up, the Fernandina Galapagos tortoise. This is one of the most remarkable discoveries in recent memory. Not because of how well known the animal was, or because it was something I desperately wanted to look for during the extinct or alive days, but because of how it completely disappeared. The Fernandina Galapagos tortoise was first described in 1906 by scientists exploring the Galapagos Islands. They collected a single specimen and brought it back for documentation. And after that, it vanished. It sat on the edge of extinction, quietly filed away as possibly extinct in scientific records. Yet in 2019, that changed. A team of researchers set out to explore Fernandina Island. They spent days pushing through dense vegetation, setting up camp, watching the landscape, but not looking for tortoises. No, they were there to study the island's unique ecosystem. Then one day they saw a movement in the underbrush, and there, hidden among the volcanic rocks, was exactly what the world had hoped to see: a living Fernandina Galapagos tortoise. The team managed to photograph it, clear, unmistakable images of a species lost for over a century. And just like that, the Fernandina Galapagos tortoise went from legend to fact. Now, Galapagos tortoises are known for their longevity and adaptability, but the Fernandina species is one of the rarest and least understood. It has a saddleback shell, long neck, and sturdy limbs, allowing it to navigate the rugged terrain of its volcanic home. Its dark coloration offers perfect camouflage against the island's black lava fields. It's quiet, shy, and solitary, which likely explains why it was so hard to find for so long. But rediscovering the species is only step one. Fernandina Island remains largely unsurveyed, and there's no estimate on how many of these incredible tortoises may still exist or if they're in immediate danger. The threats are real. While the Galapagos are protected, introduced species and climate change pose significant risks, and without further study and protection, this fragile population could disappear before we ever fully understand it. Next up, a bird that is so elusive and so bizarre, you wouldn't even believe that they rediscovered the new Guinea Highland wild dog. This one is straight out of a cryptozoologist's dream and an absolute jackpot for conservationists like myself. It's one of the rarest canid species in the world, with a distinctive howl and a coat that ranges from golden to black. And yet, for decades, it vanished. The species was first documented in the 1950s by explorers in the New Guinea Highlands. After that, it disappeared. No confirmed sightings, no specimens. It was just assumed extinct for more than half a century, written off as one of the many casualties of habitat loss and human encroachment that is so rampant in that part of the world. Then in 2016, an expedition team captured something extraordinary on their trail cameras. That's right, that year a small team of researchers set out on a mission to find it. They combed through the rugged terrain of the New Guinea Highlands, searching not for the dog itself, but for signs of its presence. Here's what made this different. The New Guinea Highland wild dog doesn't live in packs like most canids. It's elusive, solitary, and incredibly adapted to its harsh mountain environment. The team focused on areas where local tribes had reported strange howls and glimpses of unfamiliar dogs. And guess what? They found it. That's right, clear images of at least 15 wild individuals in their natural habitat. And for the first time ever, video footage of the world's rarest wild dog species. This rediscovery is exciting, but it's also concerning. The highlands where this dog lives are under constant threat from mining operations and deforestation. And because it was missing for so long, there's almost no data on its population size or distribution. The New Guinea Highland wild dog is a perfect example of how rare species can vanish without ever being formally declared extinct. And it shows how critical it is to explore, listen to local knowledge, and protect what little wild habitat remains before species quietly disappear without us even noticing. Next up, one of the most prehistoric-looking species in history, the Hula painted frog. So, here's something really bizarre. A frog with a dark, warty skin, bulging eyes, and a name that honors the Hula Valley in Israel, where it was once thought to be extinct. For over 50 years, this alien-looking amphibian was believed to be gone forever. This creature is a living fossil, part of an ancient lineage of frogs that dates back millions of years. It lives in the wetlands of northern Israel, an area that has seen dramatic changes over the past century. The only specimens ever collected were found back in the 1940s, and for decades after that, it completely vanished from science. But here's the thing. The local people never stopped talking about it. They knew it as a strange frog that lived in the remaining patches of swamp. So in 2011, a park ranger made an incredible discovery. After weeks of searching, he found a single adult Hula painted frog. This wasn't just any frog sighting. It was the rediscovery of a species that had been declared extinct in 1996. Since then, more individuals have been found, giving scientists a second chance to study and protect this unique amphibian. The Hula painted frog is critically endangered, likely living in very low numbers in the few remaining wetland areas. It's threatened by habitat loss, pollution, and the introduction of invasive species. It's incredibly elusive, spending most of its time buried in mud and only emerging at night to feed and breed. Now that we know it still exists, conservation efforts can finally focus on protecting this ancient species and its fragile wetland home. The rediscovery of the Hula painted frog is a powerful reminder that sometimes species we think are lost forever are still hanging on by a thread, waiting to be found again. All right, the next animal is just wild. A mammal that hadn't been seen since 1968, rediscovered over 50 years later in the mountains of Vietnam. The silver-backed chevrotain, also known as the Vietnamese mouse deer. A deer so small and so strange, it looks like something out of a fairy tale. Back in 1910, a Russian expedition collected 4 specimens of this tiny ungulate, and then nothing. Vanished. For decades, nobody knew if it existed. But in 2019, a group of researchers armed with camera traps went out searching for it again. Not in the deep rainforest, but in the dry forests of southern Vietnam. And after months of waiting, boom, there it was. Not just one, either. Multiple individuals, caught on camera, snuffling through the leaf litter at night. And that's when they discovered something no one had ever documented before. The silver-backed chevrotain isn't just rare, it's incredibly shy and nocturnal. It only emerges under the cover of darkness, using its tiny hooves to navigate the forest floor in search of fruit and leaves. Its silver-gray back gives it perfect camouflage in the dappled moonlight filtering through the canopy. Now, here's the thing. This chevrotain likely only lives in a very small area, which makes it incredibly vulnerable to threats like hunting and habitat loss. Its rediscovery has given scientists a second chance at saving one of the most unique and least understood hoofed mammals in the world. The silverback chevrotain's future is uncertain. Its habitat is fragmented and under pressure from development and agriculture. But the rediscovery has sparked new conservation efforts, focusing on protecting the dry forests where it lives and working with local communities to reduce hunting pressure. Hey, I hope you guys are enjoying this journey through recently rediscovered species as much as you're enjoying this video. And I'll tell you something that made my research that much better, which is finding out that so many of these incredible comebacks happen because scientists listen to local people. This is all wild. Traditional knowledge, stories passed down through generations, and weird-named creatures in native tongues can guide science in ways no satellite map ever could. Next up, an incredible bird that's not a parrot or a pigeon, but instead it's the black-browed babbler, a kind of bird that sounds made up. Imagine a songbird with striking black and white plumage that hasn't been seen by science in over 170 years until now. Endemic to the forests of Borneo is where this bird was long thought to be extinct. The last confirmed sighting was back in 1848. For well over a century and a half, it disappeared into legend. But locals still whispered about it. They described a distinctive call, a ghostly presence in the forest, and for years, scientists dismissed it until a small team decided to believe them. In 2020, two men in Indonesian Borneo captured a bird they didn't recognize. They photographed it and released it back into the wild. When those photos made their way to ornithologists, the impossible was confirmed. A living black-browed babbler. That's just nuts. Now, this wasn't a blurry photo of a Bigfoot-like thing. It was crisp, clear evidence that the so-called extinct bird was very much alive, right where the locals had always said it was. So, how did it vanish in the first place? Most likely a combination of habitat loss and its naturally secretive nature. Deforestation in Borneo has been rampant, and this bird relies on dense, undisturbed rainforest to survive. Now that we know it still exists, the race is on to protect what little habitat remains for this incredible creature. And here's the cool part. This rediscovery didn't come from drones or high-tech gear or AI. It happened because people were curious, because they paid attention to the unfamiliar, and because scientists were willing to follow up on what seemed like an impossible lead. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love doing breakdowns of extinct animals. To me, there is nothing more exciting than the possibility of rediscovery. Please comment and let me know if you enjoy them as much as I do. Let me know what other lists you'd like me to go through. And remember, sometimes the most incredible discoveries are hiding right under our noses, waiting for someone to look in the right place at the right time.